So I left 7 inches space from the starting point, and I marked it here, and right here from the center front here also I left 4 inches space for my button allowance and also for my lapel. So now let's continue. Now after lifting this space, it means I'm not going to be starting my basic bodies from the up here. It means it's going to be starting from here, and also the center front is going to be starting from here also. So I have my back bodies drafted already with the zipper allowance. So if I want to draft this now, I can easily fold in my zipper allowance and then just paste my back bodies here and then use it to trace it out, or I can just trace out my basic bodies all over again. Okay, so my basic bodies is drafted now, as we can see. So this is the front bodies. Now remember, we left 4 inches space for here for our button allowance because the opening will be at the front and you may want to put buttons. So we're going to be leaving 1 inch for, we are going to be using from the 4 inches that we left. I'm going to be measuring 1 inch here for my button allowance. So I'll do that now and make it into a straight line. Okay, so the 1 inch is done now. This is my button allowance. So the next thing to do now is to determine my breaking point. The breaking point is where you want your lapel to, where the folding of your lapel to stop. I mean the opening of the lapel, where you open is usually where you start placing your buttons. That is where your breaking point is. So now your breaking points can be anywhere. It depends on you. It can be on your chest line, it can be on the waistline, it can be on the bust line, just anywhere you want your breaking point to be. So for me, I'll just be measuring around 14 inches and then I'm going to break my lapel right there. So like I said, it is not a constant and it is not compulsory. It can be anywhere you want it to be. So I'm measuring 14 inches now and I'm stopping my breaking point there. So after that, the next thing I'm going to do now is to connect from my neckline to my breaking point diagonally. So using my ruler, I'll place it like this and then connect from my breaking point to my neckline. So this is where my lapel is going to stop, also known as my breaking point. So after doing that, now I need to create my back neckline collar. Okay, so now I'm going to pick up my back panel and then fold in my zipper allowance. Remember, this zipper allowance is not part of it, so I need to fold it in before I take my back neckline measurement. So now after folding in my zipper allowance, I'm going to take my tape rule and take it around the back neckline. So now from here I'll measure what I have, and here I have around 3.5 inches, as you can see. So this is 3.5 inches. It means half of my back neckline is 3.5 inches. And remember, for shawl or roll collar, the back neckline collar is cut together with the front. So I'm just going to extend this now by 3.5 inches, which is my back neckline. And then I'm going to take my ruler and then continue my marking up to the 3.5 inches mark, and then I'll stop. So we have it like that. That is what I left the 7 inches space for. You may not live up to that, but because I don't know what my back neckline will be yet, that's why I just left enough space for me. So now, because the back neckline is not going to be this sharp, here I'm going to be going out by 1/2 inch, so that to have some curve, some form of curve, and then I'll use a slightly curved ruler to connect it to my front neckline like this. So I have this. So my new back neckline starts from here. So now we're almost done. The next thing now is to decide the shape of the lapel that you want. So it depends on you. It can be sharp, it can be curvy, depending on the style that you want to create. So now the first thing for me now is to decide how wide my lapel is going to be. Okay, so for the width of my collar, I'll be going with 3. You can, depending on how wide you want it to be, like I said. So for me, I'll be going with 3 inches of 3 up to 4 inches. I can just stop at it. Okay, I'm just going for 4 inches, and then I'm going to connect it to my back corner neckline. So now I want it curved. I'm just going to find a way to curve it to my breaking point, to just narrow down to my breaking point like this. So I can decide to use my free hand or just make use of a curved ruler if you have, or depending on the shape that you wish to achieve at the end of this tutorial. Okay, so it doesn't really have a static style. So I'm just going to be doing this in bits, and then I'm going to move my ruler and then connect it up to my breaking point here. Okay, so this is what my lapel is looking like. This is the shape of my lapel, and with this we have come to the end of our drafting. You can see how simple it is to draft this shawl collar. So now I'm just going to cut this out now, and then we'll add our right allowances, and then that is it. So before I cut it out, I'm just going to put my allowances. I'll add half inch allowances, round it, and then I'm going to cut out. So I've added the necessary allowances now, and then I'm going to cut it out. So like I said, this is the back neckline collar, and it's to be cut together with the front joining. The only joining will just be here at this center back where you're going to be joining. Remember, this is just one half of the front. When we are cutting on fabric, you're going to be cutting 2 of these. So the only joining here is when you're joining the center back of the front collar on one side to the other side. Just cut this now. Okay, so this has been cut now, and this is what it's looking like. This is the back collar area, and this is the lapel that is just going to fold like this, as you can see. So like I was explaining, if you want your lapel to be wider, you just need to extend the shaping of your lapel. It depends on the style that you're going for. And this is the back panel. So now to cut the back panel, remember this is a normal basic bodice, and it's with zipper allowance. So you just need to fold in your zipper allowance. If you would not like to see a seam line at the back of your jacket, then you just need to fold this in like this, and then place your fabric on fold and cut. But usually it's always fine to have a seam at the back. It gives it more fitting. Okay, so if you don't mind having a seam at the back of your jacket, just like at the waistline, if you don't mind having a seam line there, you just need to go in by half inch is okay, and then just take a dart there and then connect it upwards and downwards like this. So just take a dart there, and by the time you cut it out, it will give your jacket more fitting. Okay, so on your waistline, to do that on your waistline, you just need to take like half inch dart and then connect it like this. So when you are cutting your back panel, you take note of this. So now when you finish cutting this, just like the way I did, adding seam allowance to, so just like I added seam allowances to my lapel, the neckline, the shoulder area, and the hemline here, you're going to be repeating the same for the back panel also. Meanwhile, you must have cut off your, you must have cut off your dart. So this, your new center back will be looking like this with the dart, sorry. Okay, so you have your center back looking like this. You can see it just goes in a bit at the waist area there. So now the next thing is for you to just add your seam allowances to the center back. Remember, if you cut it out here separately, now you will need to join it back so that there will not be any shortage. You have to add seam allowance for joining it. You had seam allowance for hemming it here also, and then you had your seam allowance for the shoulder. Remember, we had a seam allowance for the front shoulder also, so that it can match up when you are joining it. And also remember to always have seam